Hello, and welcome to Pokemon Lair. Today we'll be unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA, or Professional Sports Authority, over a year ago, and I just got them back. They send you to them in this nice little box, all packaged really well, so that you don't get them damaged in shipping, and they arrive to you nice and clean and ready to go. Let me get them unboxed, and we'll see what grades we got. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Cloyster, a first edition number 32 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, I don't see any damage, bends, or scratches. Looking at our centering looks really good from top to bottom and side to side. And our corners and edges look really clean. I don't see any damage there at all. Looking at the back of this card, you can see that it looks really good. I don't see any damage to the card. Looking at our centering looks really good from top to bottom and left to right. Looking at our corners and edges, you can see there's a slight damage to all four corners, and there's little damage to the upper and lower or bottom edges. And that will produce a grade of near mint 8. Not too shabby and not too bad. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Omanyte, the first edition number 52 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, there is no scratches, bends, or damage. Looking at our centering from top to bottom and right to left, I think they look pretty good. And looking at our edges and corners, I don't see any damage or anything that will affect the grade. Flipping the card over, you can see that the back surface is just as clean as the front surface. And this card looks really good. The centering looks really good from top to bottom and left to right. Finally, looking at our edges look really clean. Looking at our corners, you can see there's a little bit of damage to the upper right corner. And that's going to give us a grade of mint 9. I like 9s. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Golbat, our first edition number 34 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, it looks really clean and nice. There's no damage on it. Looking at our centering from left to right looks good, and our top to bottom looks good. And finally, looking at our corners and edges, I don't see any damage at all. The back of this card looks as good as the front of the card. I don't see any problem with the surface. Looking at our edges and our corners, they look really clean and nice, and our centering looks right in within tolerance. Could this be, let's see what grade we get, a Gem Mint 10. This card is over 20 years old, and it's a 10. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Shellder, a first edition number 54 card. Looking at the front surface of the card, there's no bends, scratches, or damage. Looking at our centering looks really good from top to bottom and side to side. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage that can affect the grade. Flipping to the back of the card, you can see that it looks really good. I don't see any damage to the surface of the card. Our centering looks really good from top to bottom and right to left. And actually our edges and our corners look really crisp and clean. Wow. Could this be a Gem Mint 10? Nice. Awesome. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Golem, a first edition number 36 card. Looking at the front of this card, there's no damage, scratches, or bends. Looking at our centering looks pretty good from top to bottom. But from left to right, it's a little to the left. And finally, looking at our corners and our edges, they look pretty clean. I don't see any problem there. Moving to the back of the card, you can see that it looks nice and clean. I don't see any damage on the surface of the card. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty good. From left to right is a little to the right. And finally, looking at our edges and corners, they look pretty good to me. I don't see any damage there that could affect the grade. And that will give us a grade of mint 9. Another 9, I like it. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Tentacool, a first edition number 56 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, it looks really clean. No bends, no creases, no scratches. Looking at our centering looks good from top to bottom and right to left. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any issues that could affect the value of this card. Looking at the back, you can see that the surface looks really nice and clean. Looking at our centering, it looks within tolerance. I don't see any problems with the centering. Looking at our edges and our corners, the upper right corner and the right edge has very slight damage. And that will produce a grade of mint 9. Nice. Old card, mint 9. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Kingler, a first edition number 38 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, I see no damage, creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering on this card looks really good from left to right and top to bottom. And our corners and our edges look really clean. I don't see any damage there. On the back, the surface looks really clean and crisp. I don't see any damage there. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom looks pretty good. Looking at our corners, they look really good, and our edges don't look too bad, except there's a slight one white speck almost center top that I see, and that's going to give us a grade of mint 9. Wow, that little speck dropped us from a 10 to a 9. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Mr. Fuji, a first edition number 58 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, I see no damage. This card is beautiful and clean. The centering on this card is great from top to bottom and side to side. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage with them at all. Flipping to the back, you can see that the back looks really good. I don't see any problems with the surface of the card. Our centering looks good from left to right and top to bottom. And our edges and our corners, I think, are really clean. I think this is a very good card. And that's going to give us a grade for Mr. Fuji of Gem Mint 10. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Omastar, a first edition number 40 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, this Omastar looks really good and clean. I don't see any damage, dirt, or bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom looks good, and from side to side looks just as good. And finally, our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage there. Looking at the back, you can see that that the surface is really clean. And looking at our centering, I see that it looks within tolerance from top to bottom and side to side. And our corners and our edges look really clean. I think this is a good card. And we'll get a grade of Gem Mint 10. Awesome. That is a great card. Our grade review of a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Gambler, a first edition number 60 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, I see no damage to the surface, no scratches or bends. Our centering on the card looks really good from the top to the bottom and our side to side. And our corners and our edges are very clean and crisp. I see no damage there. Turning the card over, you can see that the back looks as good as the front. There's no damage or bends on the surface. Our centering looks really good from top to bottom and right to left. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage there. I think this is going to be another good card. And our Gambler got a grade of Gem Mint 10. That is awesome. That card is over 20 plus years old.